All right, everybody. Once again, it's Troy Vaughn, also known as Trey Amazing, and we are here with another edition of Ringside's own Corner Confession. And in this corner, we have the illustrious Jason Panda, my Morehouse brother. So you know he on top of his game. And but you know what? I can give a description, I can give an introduction, but it won't do this man justice. So, brother Panda, for the people out here in Ringside community and the world, let everybody know who you are and why you're here today.
My name is Jason Panda. I'm the CEO and founder of B Condoms. We're the only black-owned condom company. We're out of Atlanta. We've been around for about 10 years, and you can find us at Walmart.
All right. So I just want to stress that again. Black owned condoms. Now everybody out there, look, many people out, y'all got the Trojans, you got the Lifestyles, you got the Durex, but not only are we advocating safe sex, but we also woke, okay? We're doing it for the ancestors, okay? We black owned, support black business. So Jason, check this out. Condoms. Now, I know people don't major in condoms in college. How did you get the idea of starting a condom company? Like, what was the muse and what was the inspiration behind this?
I think for me, my background was in law, right? So, I went to Morehouse, shared classes with Troy. I was a bio major at Morehouse. After graduating, I actually went on to law school, and I practiced biopharmaceutical patent law, right? So that's kind of like where you mix science with law. I was a miserable attorney. I hated it. So almost immediately after graduating, passing a bar, I worked at a firm for maybe a year. I realized I wanted something that would have a greater impact, right? And I wanted something also that would be able to, build a business from ground up, exist within a black space, and then also just make sure I'm giving back to the next generation. So when I looked at it one day, I was speaking with my mother, and we were talking about the disproportionate impact of things like unplanned teenage pregnancy, STDs, HIV and AIDS. And she used to run her own nonprofit. So, she was saying, it's really interesting that you have all these black people that are disproportionately impacted, but the one way to counteract it all, which is condoms, we never actually owned our own condom company. And when I thought about that, I was like, wow, like that's really, really powerful. And I was like, imagine that you could build a business and be able to mix the impact with the business aspects of it, and then be able to actually create a space within this condom arena whereby we could reflect our own culture, reflect our own practices, educate people, and eventually just be able to, as I like to say, protect the culture, which is our mantra.
So what does B condoms? What does B stand for? What's the significance behind B?
So when we first started the brand, I wanted something that would be connective yet open to everybody, right? So you can be cool, you can be safe, you can be yourself, you can be whatever you want to be. Just be healthy.
You can be woke.
You can be woke. You can be strong. You can be freaky. You can be whatever, right? Like, and one of the things I also studied was, looking back and kind of as a black entrepreneur, I used to follow Damon John or whatever as well, and he had FUBU, right? So FUBU, everybody kind of within the community would know, for us, by us, right? So I found being able to use the word "be" for some people it may mean black, right? And it can have that resonance within the community. But I think, but the greater meaning can also be able to be cool, be safe, be responsible, just be yourself and be healthy.
I like that. I think that's a great line. So when doing this, when making that transition, because that's quite a leap from law to condoms. What were some of the impressions, or what were some of the things that people were telling you at this time? Because as a fellow entrepreneur, it's a leap of faith. It is not for the faint of heart. So what were, the people in your corner, family, friends, classmates, what were they saying in terms of when you told them you were going from law to now entrepreneurship, specifically condoms?
I think like the good thing was I have a very extraordinarily supportive family, right? Like my immediate family unit and my immediate friend unit, trust me, they trust my decisions, and they trust that, at the end of the day, I'm going to find a path that's best for me, right? Like my path, I feel like, for greater good, I was chosen to do this path, right? And that's kind of what I've been able to pursue. The people that didn't know me, that may not understand it, I had to kind of learn to brush them off, right? Because no one's going to be able to get it. You got to think my last year practicing law, I maybe made $200,000 a year, right? So to go from that to zero, right? Year over year. A lot of people like it, people like comfort, right? And at that point, it really wasn't cool to be a black owned business, right? And then, in addition, you're going up against multi-billion-dollar companies, right? So it's not like, you're competing against your local mom and pop, and no one can understand a lot of times. It's kind of like people that flip properties, right? Everybody's not going to be able to see the value in a house in a, in a gentrified neighborhood the way somebody else may be able to, or in an underserved neighborhood. It's going to take that one person that has that vision to be able to say, I can do this and I can create this and it'll have that impact. And I think I looked at condoms and I looked at my career path the same way. Yes, did I have to take 5 steps back? Of course, right? But I don't think there was going to be any other way. If it was going to be easy, everybody would have done it, right? But I think when I look now at the arc of what I've been able to do, look 10 years in, I by far made the best decision personally, and I think for my future family and my future kids or whatever that I could have made that just fit what I wanted to do in terms of where I saw my own professional life.
Indeed, brother. Okay, so you mentioned some of the big dogs. I mean, you got some big giants out there. I mean, of course, you got the Magnums, you got the Lifestyles, the Durex, you got and there are other companies, but these are like big top 3. You got One Condoms out of Massachusetts. So for somebody who's going into a store like a Walmart or any place, and they need a condom.
Yeah.
The nature calls and it's time to do what you do, and they're looking for a condom. Now, because of their brand reputation, the big dogs, someone who's looking, they need a condom right away and they see a big condom, what message would you want them to see, or what message would you want your condom to jump out and grab that person when they're looking for some protection because they're about to go get it in?
Yeah.
What would you want them, or how would you want them to distinguish B condoms versus something that's been around, like a Lifestyles or a Magnum?
And now that's a really good question. And I think what differentiates us are really 3 key areas, right? First and foremost, our product, right? So, I invest more heavily than almost all of my competitors in the actual product, right? So our condoms, they're odorless, they're vegan friendly, they're pH sensitive for the women, so you don't got to worry about it offsetting your pH balance or anything like that. We use an all natural rubber latex that's free of casein, it's free of gluten, glycerin, nitrosamines. So you're going to be able to get a better experience with an all natural product than you would be able to get with one of our competitors, right? And we do all of that without jeopardizing the strength, the durability, or the adaptability of the actual condom as well. Right? So a lot of people like to say, your condoms are so durable relative to all of the others, right? Or, when people have sex using our condoms, the room's not going to smell like a rubber factory, right? Versus what you may experience with some of our competitors. And that's part of the reason that I think for me, I invest a lot more heavily into the product, right? So I think number 1, you got to start with the product, right? Number 2, it's what we're doing in the community, right? Because I think, if we're really going to be any business that I think is rooted in the black community or focused around the black community cannot forget the impact that's needed around certain areas, right? So we work heavily within the nonprofits. We work heavily within public health agencies, right? And we work heavily between, that intermediary between both public and private, where we're really trying to move our culture forward, right? We did a barbershop campaign here in Atlanta where we gave away 250,000 condoms through over 100 barbershops and beauty salons all across the city, right? We did a campaign last weekend for a National HIV/AIDS Testing Day in partnership with Cobb and Douglas Department of Public Health and Walmart and some of the other players. What we're doing and trying to be visible and actively working within the community, no one else is doing, right? So that kind of brings us to our last point, at which if we're not going to build the table for ourselves, we'll never have a seat at the table, because these opportunities do not exist, right? So part of the reason that when people say, Jason, you're leaning into black owned, why does it matter? Want to know why it matters? Is because if you look at hiring practices, right? Look at all of our competitors. We have more black staff at our small business than all of them combined. Period. right? So if we're not creating those communities, and we all understand how big of a, pro-sexuality, pro-sex, or just how big of a community we are, not to actually have our own table or have our own seat at the table. So it's important for me, like, you got to think, even when we launched, you could barely find people of color on ads, right? Like, the whole thought was crossover and then they'll just pick it, right? Or like when it came to the, one of our gold competitor, we got our platinum large and our platinum extra large, which I also want to mention is the largest condom on the U.S. market. There is no bigger.
Say it again.
Our platinum extra large condom is the biggest condom on the U.S. market. It gets no bigger.
And the reason I'm saying that, because you just educated me, because only 20 minutes ago I'm thinking the Magnum XL was the biggest condom out there.
No.
Again, when you think about branding, everybody knows about the gold packs. Everybody knows, okay, get the Magnum. All the guys want to, we all want to brag and say, yo, we need Magnums, whatever, because a lot of us think Magnum equals the biggest on the market. And then you come and say, no, we've gone bigger.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So now Magnum is not the biggest.
Exactly. And I think for us, there are two ways that I get across that message, right? Gold is old. Just simple as that, right? It's all about platinum. We got our platinum large, we got our platinum extra large. And you wanted to know what B stands for. B stands for the biggest, the best, the baddest in the game, right? Because that's what we are. We're not playing to just be in a space and be happy that, they may let us in. No, we want to own this space, right? We want to make sure that within a year, if you're somebody of color within the United States, you will know about our brand. And we're not playing to be a second tier. We're not playing to just be happy that we got invited to the barbecue. We're coming to have our own barbecue, and we're inviting us and our whole community with it. And that's the real impact of B Condoms.
Fuck who had it before, fuck who had it next.
We're the future. We're the future. We're the now and we're the future.
That's what I'm talking about. I'm glad you mentioned earlier vegan friendly. Now, everybody out there, that is the new thing. Everybody's vegan now. Everybody's meatless. Everybody, every woman now is like, oh, I'm a vegan, and so that, I think that's a very important. That's important to mention, because that is the wave that a lot of people are riding, and naturally, before you say anything, I would never think condom vegan friendly. That's not anything I would even align together. Now, how did that idea? Who came up with that, or what was the inspiration behind making it vegan?
I think for me, a lot of times, you come from a public health background as well, right? And I think a lot of times people take for granted that black people don't want to be healthy, and that we're just going to accept what's always in our neighborhood. So we talk about food deserts, right? Where if you live in certain areas, you can't find healthy vegetables, you can't find fruits, you can't find things that'll allow us to be able to just be more healthy for longer in life, right? So I think that as a community, we always wanted better. We just never controlled the distribution and the systems that would make being better, being more healthy, it allowed that to be more present in our own community, right? So when it came to condoms, it's easy to look around and I know what we want. We wanted bigger condoms, we wanted better condoms, we wanted less smelly condoms, but you can't do that unless you actually own the product and you own the distribution system, right? So when when I first started the company, this is one of the things that's really important to mention, right? I visited 15 different manufacturers all across this world. Like they talk about Frank Lucas and all of these other guys, I wanted a direct source. So I personally went and visited. And that's why even now I can walk you from a rubber tree all the way down to the end product. I mastered that whole process. And in mastering it, I went by the manufacturers for my competitors. So I know where some of the other guys, I don't want to name them all, right? But I know where they manufacture. I know what their internal statistics are like. I know where they're cutting costs. And I know where their strengths and where their weaknesses are. And when I mapped that against what was important to us as a community, I understood that, invest more in our product, not only because we're going to get a lot more pushback because we are the only black-owned condom company, but invest more in our product because we deserve it as a community, right? So when I know what we wanted as a community, there was already that wave. So I was like, it only made sense that we extend that wave down to the actual product. And that's why I wanted to deliver that.
See, right when you were saying that, I was feeling what you were saying, and I kept thinking about Frank Lucas, and I kept seeing the B Condoms, like, is the B Blue Magic? I'm like, is that why his name is blue in the background? I'm I'm trying to. I'm connecting some dots here, bro. Okay, making me think right now, but I like that. No, I think that is a great point. You are controlling the process, and you have more control of the outcome, and that's something that we don't see a lot of us doing. Because, like you said, I mean, we want anything. We just accept, whatever business, and majority of the time it's not black owned.
Yeah.
But we are trying to encourage more. Particularly in this year, we talk about the anniversary. What was it, 100 years of Black Wall Street. We had black owned everything. So I think this is just another great addition to more black people investing in black people. And I commend you for that, because that's the reason why I like to highlight this, because I want people to see more black entrepreneurship.
Yeah, and I think that's key, right? Because, I think, for every, physics tells us, right? For every action, there's a reaction, right? And I think what happened was, when integration happened, there were a lot of good, right? I don't want to take away that, we should all stay segregated and everything else. But there was also areas where we fell behind as well. And one of those was the ability to have black businesses in mass, and an insular system where the black dollar rotated through our community a lot more readily than what it does right now, right? And as a result, what we're now trying to figure out is, within a mass market system where everybody's mixed, how can we now find ways to be able to support one another, because we understand that that's the only way we're going to move forward as a community, right? And that's one of the reasons why, when I look at the future and the trajectory of Condoms and our company, I look at, how many staff we can provide jobs for, which are going to be primarily people of color. How many trucking companies that we can. There's going to be a whole ecosystem built around this one business that can then be able to support so many ancillary businesses that then support so many families, right? And that's the real power of economics, and that's the real power of our community. And I think when you overlay and when you layer that on top of the impact for how many kids of our generation we can educate. How many, it's powerful. It's powerful, and that's why I get up every day, and that's why I love what I do, and that's just why I'm not really religious, but I just say I'm blessed. I'm blessed to be in this position and to have that opportunity.
And this is something for me. Being public health background, I'm always encouraging people, protect yourself, use condoms. I mean, we're here. This is Atlanta, Georgia. Fulton County has a very high rate of not only HIV and AIDS prevalence, STDs. But STDs in general. So any message or any platform where we can encourage people, wrap that shit up. Know your status, protect yourself and the person or the people you're with. I mean, because all this is important. I mean, we're dealing with a pandemic, but trust me, HIV and STDs, they haven't gone anywhere. They're not getting as much news coverage, but they're still very much around. So protecting yourself, wearing condoms is very much still a priority, very much still important. Really quickly, you talked about platinum. What are some of the other generations of condoms that you have? Is it a condom black or blue or anything like that?
So I'll tell you what's available in store. So if you're in the Atlanta area, you can find us at Starship. You can find us at Tokyo Valentino. You can find us at Walmart. You can find us in a lot of different convenience stores all across the city, right? So at those stores, you'll be able to primarily find our classic, which is our standard lubricated condom, standard size. You'll be able to find our platinum large condom, right? And then you'll be able to find our platinum extra large, which is the biggest one biggest one on the market, right? Now, if you come online to bcondoms.com, then you'll really be able to find the full assortment of what we offer, right? Now on bcondoms.com, you can find we have ribbed, we have studded, we have snugger fit, which is for the smaller size men. We have extra strength, which is a thicker condom, which allows men, a little bit less sensation or whatever that, so some men can last a little bit longer.
You gotta stay up here.
Then we have the ultra thin, we have the ultra sensitive. We also have flavored condoms. Nice. So whether it's chocolate, blueberry, strawberry. We have colored condoms.
Hey, wait a minute. This Atlanta, you ain't got lemon pepper? Come on, bro. I'm trying to help you out.
And we got that hot. So we got tropical flavors, we got tropical colors, We also have like an all black color condom.
Nice.
Yeah. That's actually surprisingly one of the top sellers as well. And in addition, we also have lubricant and hand sanitizer.
Okay.
So yeah, if you come online at bcondoms.com, you'll be able to get that full suite. And then what we also offer, which we found works really well with the community, is we offer a sampler pack. Right now, with the sampler pack, it's a little bit of mix of everything. Right, so you may get 2 or 3 condoms, sometimes 4, of all of the different things that we offer. And that way you can kind of test them all out. You can find your partner and figure out what you like. Do you like rib? Do you like studded? Do you like thin? Do you like sensitive? Do you like extra strength? What sizes? You know, you can figure it all out and then be able to come to the type that best fits your needs and best fits your experience so that you're maximizing, you know, the time that you're going to be sharing with somebody else.
Sounds like a great date night.
Mm-hmm.
So, okay, you got all these different condoms. So I'm waiting on the Juneteenth condom. And you got platinum, but one day there's going to be a diamond. I'm seeing it. I'm already seeing it. I'm not trying to, you know, see the shit for you, but I'm thinking B condom diamond. Okay, last question I got for you. Where do you see B condoms 5 years from now? Like, what does the future hold for B condoms?
Within 5 years, we'll probably be the #1 condom in the United States.
Okay, I like that.
Hands down. I think looking at the trajectory, and looking at our own growth, and then just looking at kind of market dynamics, we're going to have the distribution, we're going to have the team, we're going to have, you know, the brand visibility, and I expect us to be the #1 condom in the game in 5 years.
Okay. All right, that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
So before we wrap up, you got to let the people know, give them your website one more time, and give them all the social where they can find not only you, but B Condoms.
Yep. So on our website is B, just the letter B, no E, so just bcondoms.com. On Instagram, you can find us at B Condoms, so just the letter B Condoms. It's the same thing all across. We're heavily focused, you know, kind of like between our Instagram and our online. We have a Facebook page, but it's not as active. And then me personally, it's Jason K Panda, JASONKPANDA, and that's my Instagram as well. But definitely, if you're in Atlanta area, go to Walmart, support, buy, let a friend know, let your partner know, let a cousin, let an aunt, let an uncle, let anybody in your circle know. Let your pastor know. We work with churches. We work with everybody. You know, we're here to protect the culture. We're here to make sure that we're providing a better future for our generations than what we may have had. We're here to make sure that we're educating, and we're here to do our part. And I thank you for the opportunity. Just spread the message. Protect the culture.
Spread the message. Don't spread anything else. Okay? Jason, thank you so much. This has been Ringside's Corner Confession. Everybody out there, please find us at ringsidedebates.com. If you're on Facebook, go ahead and type in Ringside LLC. Join the private Facebook group and get down with some of these outspoken, over the top, and opinionated debates on a regular. And with that, we will bid you guys adieu. See you next time.